In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit a POV photography video. I'd also like to thank Adobe for sponsoring this video. Over the years, I've made close to 30 different POV photography videos. Not only are they one of the best performing videos on this channel, people seem to love them, photographers seem to like watching them, but they're actually fairly simple to both film and edit as far as YouTube videos go. If you're unsure on how to actually get started and film your POV videos, I've made a definitive guide sharing the whole recording process from getting out there, filming your street photography content, best practices, what gear to use, etc, etc. So a link will pop up somewhere, click that, and then you'll understand how to start filming your content. But in this video, I'm going to take you through the entire editing workflow using Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm going to share some tips, share some tricks so you can edit your content nice and simple and get it on YouTube or wherever you want to share the content. I'm going to break this video down into 3 steps. Step 1 is organizing your content so you know exactly what to do with it. Step 2 is actually editing the video, which I'll share some tips, tricks, and share my workflow in Premiere Pro. And step 3 is adding that 10%, adding that sauce that's going to make your video that little bit better. Step 1, organizing your content. So after you've been out shooting, you have the footage from your POV, you have the photos you've taken from that day. You're going to want to organize this, select it, and cull it, and make sure you've got everything ready before you start editing that in Premiere Pro. The first thing you're going to want to do is edit all the photos you want to put in the video, and then scrap all of the other photos that you don't necessarily want. For my POV videos, I normally like to share around 20 to 30 images, maybe more depending on the length of the video. But just before we start editing in Premiere Pro, you're going to have a folder of all of your photos that you're going to want in the POV video. Step 2 is the Premiere Pro workflow. So let's jump into the computer and I'm going to take you step by step on editing your video together. So we're just opening up Premiere Pro now, and if this is the first time you've actually ever opened up Premiere Pro, maybe you've never edited a video before, on the left you'll see Home and Learn. I would suggest having a little browse at some of these tutorials, some of these guides that Premiere Pro has to offer. There's some pretty cool things in there, but for now we're going to go over to New Project and then title this POV example. Obviously title it whatever your POV is going to be about. Save that into the appropriate folder. Leave all these settings as they are. We don't need to change anything yet. Now I imagine your Premiere Pro layout and workspace will look a lot different to this. There's a lot of unnecessary tabs open. So maybe you have assembly selected, or editing, or color, or effects, or audio, one of these default layouts. We're actually going to customize our own. Clicking these little 2 arrows here, I have a layout called Mike Chudley, which is just my standard YouTube layout. I just have the essentials up here on the top left, I have my timeline down here, and I have the program, which is where you will see the video that you're editing. We're going to create something very similar, but we're going to create our own POV workspace. I'm going to click on all panels at the top here, and then perhaps you have everything open, which is just very unnecessary. So we're going to actually get rid of media browser, close, libraries, close. We're going to keep project, source we're going to keep as well, effect controls we're going to keep, lumetri scopes we don't need, close panel, audio clip mixer, close panel, audio track mixer we're going to keep, capture we're going to close, edit to tape, close, progress, close. Over on the right hand side we're going to go info, close, effects, keep, essential graphics, close, and then actually we don't need any of these tabs open, so I'm going to quickly close them all down. This process will definitely be worth it once we've saved our custom preset and we won't ever need to go through this again. Reference, don't need, close panel, title, don't need, close panel. Now we're just going to lay everything out a little bit neater. So project, bring that up to the top left, effects, bring that over to the top left. And this, ladies and gents, is our new layout, which is so much easier and way more efficient to work from. So we're going to go into Window, Workspaces, and then we're actually going to go Save New Workspace, and I'm going to title this POV. Click OK. You can see that's been added to the top here, and then every time we want to edit a POV, this is the workspace we can edit from. So we're in project right now, we're going to click import media to start. Find your footage that you filmed, perhaps with a GoPro, so that'll be in my footage folder, and as you can see here, I've got 18 different clips from a day shooting POV photography. So I'm going to import that. I'm going to go to these little 3 lines here where it says sort icons, and I'm going to sort it by name. That's now going to display my footage in chronological order because the camera automatically names or numbers each clip. So I know that this clip here is from the start of the day and this clip here is at the end of the day. The next thing we're going to do is click this little new bin folder. I'm going to title this photos. and then obviously open that up, double click in here, go find my photos from that day, which is in the folder titled Edited Photos. And then here I've got around 80 images that I want to share in the POV, and simply click import. Now we're ready to start piecing it together. We've got all our photos here that we want to share, and then in the project tab, we've got all of our video footage as well. Let's jump right into it and get started with our first clip. So I'm going to drag that down into the timeline, and I'm just going to scrub through the footage here, and then I'm assuming just by the audio here that that's where I start talking. And now I want to share another quick tip, and that is that shortcuts in Premiere Pro are your best friend. So instead of dragging the clip from the left to where we want to start the video, which is here.
Okay, today I am using the Fuji X100V.
So that appears to be our intro. If you ever want to cut clips, my recommendation is not to drag it around like this, because that's very time consuming. Simply click on the timeline where you want your clip to be cut, and then simply press Q on the keyboard, and it's done it for us, and it's repositioned the clip to the start of the video. So if I press Command Z, that's going to undo it. So I'm going to press Command Z to reset. I'm going to simply click on the timeline up here. I want my video to start there, and then I'm going to press Q on the keyboard, and that's going to cut and trim off everything previous to where you selected. Just for the sake of this video, I won't be editing the whole intro. Obviously, this is just an example. Let's pretend that our intro ends here. I'm going to press C on the keyboard to go up the slice tool, and then I'm going to hit that where I've selected it. That's now made a cut for us, and I'm going to then press V on the keyboard, and that's going to bring back my selection tool so I can keep moving clips around. What I'm going to do next is find where I start shooting some photos. So I'm going to scrub through the footage, and I think there's a photo coming up here. I'm going to go to where I want my clip to start, which is just here. I'm going to press Q on the keyboard and then start from there. And I think, yeah, this is a good place to have a clip. And then I know that I took a photo there. I'm going to go over to my photos folder, which we have lovely and organized. And then that will be the first photo on the top left, because we have our clips and our photos organized by name first. So I know that this photo up here, I'm going to drag that down onto the timeline. I'm going to double click on the layer so I've got it nice and big, very easy for me to look at. Then we know, just go back a little bit, that when I start taking the photo should appear on screen like this. Now obviously this photo is too big, you know, the photo's been cropped out. So we're going to go into effect controls at the top, and then we're going to go over where it says scale and drag that down so it fits nicely on screen. When I take the photo, it should look something like this. It's important to let your photos breathe when you're editing the POV. You don't just want to cut the photo off, you know, let's say that the photo gets cut off and we want to start a new clip. That means that this photo has only been on screen for maybe 2 or 3 seconds. That's Command and Z. I like to have my photos on screen for the default amount of time that Premiere will select the photo for, but maybe even drag it out a little bit so the photo stays on screen for maybe 10 seconds. You not only want your viewers to admire the photo, but to actually appreciate and have a look at the photo themselves. If it just cuts to the next clip, then what's the point in even showing it in the first place? So always remember, let your photos breathe. Nothing else happens in this clip here, so I'm going to make a cut by pressing C on the keyboard and then V to get back to my selection tool. Just going to scrub through the footage to find another photo that would be fitting for this example. Okay, this is cool, of this person's doorway. Like we mentioned earlier, we're going to use the shortcut Q to trim off everything we don't need, and then now this clip has positioned itself right after the previous clip, so it will look something like this. That photo is on screen. I don't think that's on screen for long enough, so I'm actually going to drag it out a little bit just so our viewers can really see the photo that I've taken there. And then we cut to this photo here, and then I know that I took the photo around there. We're going to go over to our photos folder, find the photo that matches what we've just done or matches the GoPro footage. We're going to go into effect controls, go to scale, and then lower the size of that to scale around 33. Now the problem we have here is this is a portrait photo and it's in the middle of the video blocking everything. In effect controls, we can use these numbers here, slide them around to move the X and Y axis. So this number on the left is the X axis, which we can drag that to the left and just move that to a nicer position in the video, and that way we can still see what's going on, but the photo pops up just to the left so the viewers can see the photo as well. Now we understand how to match our photos with the GoPro footage. I want to share another quick little shortcut which might look something like this. We understood before that if we pressed Q, everything on the left hand side of of the clip would be cut. Now, if we press W, everything on the right hand side of the clip will be cut, and Command Z will undo it. Let's pretend that we're gonna cut the clip here. All I need to do is press W. So that right there is how we very simply match our photos with our GoPro footage. For the sake of this video and it not being too long, I've only edited 2 photos and 2 clips there, but you wanna go ahead and do that for your entire video. Some quick tips here: if you wanted to move your entire timeline around, you can simply drag on screen and then select everything and move it as you want. But let's say that you've got a lot of footage here and dragging it is going to be too awkward, or it's going to be a little bit weird. What you can do is hit A on the keyboard and then click, and that's going to select everything to the right hand side. If we press V to go back to our selection, we have everything selected. If you want to select everything to the left hand side, then press Shift and A and then click, and then you've selected everything in your timeline and you can move everything around. Let's recap on some of my favorite shortcuts that are going to help you when editing. We've got Q, which is going to cut everything to the left hand side. We've got W, which is going to cut everything to the right hand side, and then we've got A, which will select everything to the right, and then we've got Shift A, which will select everything to the left, and then of course we've got C, which is our slice tool, and we've got V, which is our regular selection tool. Step 3, that little 10%, adding that source. How can we make our POV videos stand out and be that little bit better? So right now you should have a timeline of footage, your behind the scenes GoPro clips or whatever you decided to film the POV with, along with the photos you want to share in the video. We're almost finished, but we're just gonna add a little bit of detail and give context to each image. You could simply add the camera settings that the photo was taken on, or even the preset that you decided to edit the photo with, so the viewers know how the photo was shot and how the photo was edited. Let's have a little look in Premiere Pro to how I would do that. All right, it is time to spice up this whole sequence and make it a little bit better. Now, obviously, let's pretend that there is 20 images here instead of just the 2. How do we make these images stand out, and how do we make this video that little bit better? Just for the sake of example here, I'm gonna add the preset that I used to edit this photo so the viewers know, and then on this photo, I'm gonna add the camera settings so the viewers know the camera settings of the photo. To add text on screen, we're simply gonna hit T on the keyboard and then click, and I'm gonna type in preset :002. I have no idea what preset I used, but this is gonna be our example. And then to change how this looks, to change the style of this, we're gonna highlight this, go over to Window, and then we closed down this menu earlier, but we're gonna bring it back, and that is Essential Graphics. At the top where it says Browse, click Edit, and then we get to edit the style of this text that we've just created. I'm gonna go for a font that I always use, lift the scale so it's a little bit bigger, maybe just 182, that's fine. I'm gonna go into Effect Controls, click Vector Motion, and then that will let us select the whole text that we've created. And I'm just gonna place that in the bottom left, something like that. Now on the timeline down here, you can see that the title has been created. So just to line that up with the photo, drag that along, drag that back there. And then now you will see when this clip or when this photo comes on screen, it will also have the text to go along with it. Perfect. How can we add another 10% onto this? And that's by adding sound effects. So I've double clicked in my project menu, and here's a couple of regular sound effects I use on my videos, and I have a camera shutter, which is going to be perfect. And obviously the Fuji camera that I was using in this clip doesn't have a shutter sound, so we're going to create our own because that is the power of video editing. So now it should sound something like this. So now we've got the photo that pops up on screen, we've got the text that goes along with it, gives context, adds detail, and we've also got a nice little sound effect. Onto our second photo over here. Instead of adding text again and going through the process of typing out what we just typed out, we can click the preset 2 layer, hit Option on the keyboard, and then drag that along, and that's going to duplicate our text. And I've just matched that with the photo below. I'm going to go into Effect Controls, Vector Motion, and I'm going to move this out the way just to the right hand side of the photo, but we don't want it to say the preset, we actually want the camera settings. So let's just make this up very quickly. Let's pretend that the shutter speed was 1/500. I'm just going to go over to the y-axis on the effect controls over there and lift that up. Let's pretend, I think it was F2 actually, which works out, and then ISO 100 just for the example today. Brilliant, our text is on screen. I'm going to grab the sound effect from over here, Option, and drag that across, so that now it should look something and sound something like this. Perfect. Photo on screen, positioned nice to the left. text on screen along with a sound effect. Obviously, repeat this process with however many photos and however long your POV video is. This simply keeps the viewers more engaged in the video. They can have a look at the image and then understand how the image was taken or how the image was edited. Now it's time for 2 quick and easy editing tips. We're gonna go over to our video layer 1, right click, add track. Now we're gonna go into our project here, click new item, adjustment layer, okay. Then drag this adjustment layer to fill or completely cover your footage. What we can do with this adjustment layer is actually any effects that we add to this layer, I'm just going to double click over here so we can see it better. Any effects that we add to this layer will also be added to the bottom layers as well. Now if we wanted to color grade our entire project just to make it look a little bit better, instead of individually color grading each of these clips, we have the adjustment layer selected, window, lumetri color, then maybe just very quickly go into basic, and then we can add temperature, add contrast, add highlights. You know, obviously this doesn't look better, but you get the point I'm trying to make. If you didn't want to color grade yourself, I'm just going to click reset, close basic, go into creative, go into look, and then Premiere Pro has a few options. Some of these are LUTs that I've downloaded. For this example, let's just click one of the Fuji presets. I don't necessarily think that looks better, but maybe I can just lower the intensity to 25%. And now if you click the little eyeball on the left hand side so you can toggle on and off the layer, you can see that we have our preset and our color grade added, and that is done by using the adjustment layer. Very nice and simple. A final tip before we export our extremely long POV, obviously your video will be longer than my 2 photo video, but we're now actually going to improve the vocals on our GoPro footage. So currently it sounds somewhat like this.
Okay, today I am using the Fuji X100V.
We're just gonna make this sound a little bit better, although that doesn't sound too bad anyway. We're gonna go into Audio Track Mixer. If you don't have Audio Track Mixer, go to Window and select Audio Track Mixer. I'm gonna click the little arrow at the top left, then we're gonna go Effect Selection, go to Filter, EQ, Parametric Equalizer, double click on that text, and then at the top where it says presets, it's on default at the moment, we're going to click Vocal Enhancer, and that does exactly what it says on the tin. We've added a vocal enhancer to Audio 1, which is this audio track here, which is our GoPro audio. So now you might not be able to tell an immediate difference.
Okay, today I am using the Fuji.
Already I can tell that that sounds better, but what that effect has done is added the vocal enhancer to the entire audio track 1, which again is adding that source and adding that 10% to your video. Adding these little 10% like captions, color grading the footage, adding the camera settings to the photo, maybe sharing the presets you've used. These little things go a long way, I think, for the viewer. They might leave a comment, they work for viewer retention. It will overall just improve your video. So spending that little bit longer editing your video in Premiere Pro with the things that I've shared will definitely improve the quality of your video. Now it's down to you guys to get out there, film your POV videos, edit your POV videos in Premiere Pro and get that on YouTube or wherever you would like to share them. If you want to get started with Premiere Pro, I'll leave a link in the description. Definitely sign up. It is one of the best editing softwares, or if not the best video editing software I've ever used. And I've been making videos close to 10 years now, and I wouldn't think about using anything else. So a massive recommendation from me, get started with Premiere Pro using the link in the description. I hope this editing guide has given you all the information you need so you can start editing your POV videos. If this helped, click subscribe. Road to 100,000 subscribers. We're on that journey. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.